Welcome to episode 2 of Pick an Album, Get a Movie. Since you guys loved the first part so much, I've decided to turn this into a multi-part series. Check out the description below for more details. Thank you for all the love you gave the last video. I'm reading every single comment and will try to include as many album requests as I can in the next episodes. But without further ado, here are more film recommendations based on your favorite albums. Norman Rockwell, Lana Del Rey. From the title alone referencing the iconic painter, it would be safe to assume that American culture is a prevalent theme within the album. For films that mirror the album's depiction of that Americana lifestyle and the deconstruction of the American dream, I'd recommend Terrence Malick's Badlands and David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Perfectly so, these two films also touch on the album's view on masculinity and its role in the violence hidden behind the American dream. And they also replicate the album's view on the controlling and ever-consuming presence of love. Another theme in the album is Lana's yearning and nostalgia for simpler times, whilst criticizing the present time and culture. Peter Weir's Picnic at Hanging Rock is the perfect immersive tie to this theme. From its immersive nature to the mise-en-scene, watching this film reflects all of Lana's nostalgia for a time that felt less corrupted by superficiality and shallowness. Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Clan. Let's take on Wu-Tang's exploration of survival when growing up in a harsh city environment. Though you've probably already seen this movie, the revered Godfather is a classic choice for this album. The film doubles Wu-Tang's interpretation of both guilt and ego that eats you alive as you succumb to the violence demanded by your position and environment. As for the part of the record that looks back on how it all started, on how dangerous naivety in these conditions can be, turn to Good Time, where Safdie's exploration of desperation and escape resembles the album's discussion of an immature teen's understanding of freedom. But if the claustrophobic grittiness and absurdity of city life is what draws you, then turn to Martin Scorsese's underrated classic, After Hours. OK Computer, Radiohead. From its title, we can conclude the central theme is technology and how it dictates and regresses the social and communicative function of our community. Lynch's Lost Highway and Cronenberg's Videodrome illustrates the album's commentary on modernity's effect on alienation in our community, showing us how it manipulates our senses and empathy. But alienation isn't all this album touches on. It also discusses how social behaviors and beliefs are exploited and framed by technology. And no better film ties the concept of paranoia and technological manipulation better than Coppola's Conversation, which also doubles for the album's politically driven perspective in the ever-evolving nature of technology. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West. The obsessed artist is a common theme in art, and Kanye does an excellent job in this record as he breaks down all the sides of fame: the beautiful privilege, the dark underbelly, the twisted nature, and the fantasy perception of it all. Kubrick's Barry Lyndon does a brilliant job in echoing the shameful and self-doubt aftermath of excess fame and achieving the highest level of success and status. And on the opposite end, we turn to Scorsese's Raging Bull, where he perfectly matches the album's themes of ego, pride, and a struggle of identity when in the spotlight. Lastly, I've always associated A Face in the Crowd to this album. The film is a perfect match to all the themes mentioned above, alongside the eventual downfall that comes with the access to attention and hedonism. Random Access Memories, Daft Punk. The album unfolds almost as a love letter to music and the innovations of technology within it. From the track dedicated to composer Giovanni Giorgio, the father of disco, to the many tracks curated purely to contribute to the dance atmosphere of the album, music and technology are one. And a film that reminds me a lot of this artistic intention is Ex Machina, especially in that somewhat infamous dancing scene. As for the part of the record that contemplates the human experience, I turn to a possibly unexpected recommendation with Terrence Malick's Tree of Life. Though seemingly far from the record's very electronic-based sound, I believe there's a comparison between the album's explanation of love, of life, and of loss, and what it means to be human, with Malick's emotional journey of making sense of life after grief. And finally, in the overlap of both themes, I once again have another unorthodox recommendation with Playtime, a film where a silly, clumsy man tries to go about a modern city. The juxtaposition of the man's absurd and unexpected actions mirrors that of human error, an error that becomes something beautifully honest in a world so lifeless, gray, and dull. A world that, in a way, is a form of technology's cold, distant presence. Both album and movie asks the question of how curiosity and spontaneity flourishes in an environment of predictability and structure. Paranoid Black Sabbath. The first film that always comes to mind when listening to this album is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Both pieces dive into how a politically corrupt world will condition a society to turn to mental pacification and hedonism to deal, and how authorities use this violent movement to their advantage to control us. As for the album's general theme of mental distress and a desire to make sense, or at least take control of one's unrestrained mind, turn to Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. And finally, a film that surmises the political themes and the violence of the record, turn to Villeneuve's Incendies. The New Abnormal, The Strokes. In this reflective record, we uncover all the moments of time, past, present, and future. When it comes to the past, the record approaches it with grief, often contemplating when innocence, naivety, and past versions of yourself died. And in this context, a film I feel best replicates that sort of journey from immaturity to a young person grieving their childhood is Bergman's Fanny and Alexander. The Banshees of Inisherin has always reminded me of this record, especially in the discussion of nostalgia. There is something similar in Casablanca's Melancholia as he remembers the good old days, with Colin Farrell's character wishing for his friendship and life to return as they were. But if the record's acceptance of the present and in future change is what interests you, then turn to Lucas's American Graffiti, where in one night you witness multiple characters across a small town in America find closure in the past they wish to leave behind. A journey that mirrors that of this album's remembrance of the past whilst looking ahead to new opportunities. Demon Days, Gorillaz. From environmental and political decay to the societal structures, this is an extensive album that touches on almost every relevant discourse there is. So the only way to truly match this broad record is to recommend films just as meta, large, and universal. If the conversation of corruption, hypocrisy, greed, and violence from the record interests you, then find remnants of it in Lumet's Network and Guillaume's Brazil. These two films also have the same level of chaos and packed feel that the album's production has. It also lightly touches on the view of environmental, worldly, and political decay, a topic mentioned throughout the record. But another film that mimics that sort of end-of-the-world feel would be Lars von Trier's Melancholia, where both album and film asks the question how the ever-moving nature of this world and its politics affect our sanity and emotional vulnerability. Hoped you enjoyed episode 2. Episode 3 will be covering Mezzanine by Massive Attack, Hounds of Love, Kate Bush, Astroworld, Travis Scott, Kind of Blue, Miles Davis, Currents, Tame Impala, Around the Fur, Deftones, and Melodrama, Lord. So until then,